I said I think we're going to win a championship, but I lied. We are going to win the championship.
Wow. All right, Draymond, writing checks that Steph Curry has to cash once again. The Golden State Warriors are 3-1 before this All-Star break, and it isn't a coincidence that the reason for this recent stretch of games being so well has been the addition of Jimmy Butler. Golden State is still a team that's indie playing exactly in the 10th spot with a record of 28-27. Very mediocre after their 12-3 start to start the season. But with their decision to get Jimmy Butler in a trade that they had to extend him for the next 2 years with $50 million guaranteed. Man, the amount of money these players are getting now is insane. It's a move that the Warriors believe should put themselves in the conversations to win a championship. Draymond literally called adding Jimmy Butler a franchise-altering move. So that's in the words of Draymond Green. But what exactly is Jimmy Butler doing that's having the Warriors play so good in the limited sample size in 4 games? The free throw uptick and paint touches. Golden State, especially over these last 2 seasons, have really lacked at free throws and being able to score in the paint. I mean, the offense is primarily built on jump shooting and ball movement and just cuts to the rim. And a lot of that comes on the back of Steph Curry's gravity, where Steph is going to draw a lot of attention, especially 2 on the ball in pick and roll situations, especially off the ball, where now these players can capitalize in these situations. Well, that's the issue. You haven't had a lot of that over these last few seasons, especially with KD, Klay Thompson not being the player he is, Draymond Green not being the player he is, and they shipped out Jordan Poole. This team really struggled at finding creators that can capitalize off these pockets and moments that they needed. Well, that's what Jimmy Butler is doing in this Golden State Warriors offense. Since he's been on the Warriors, he's averaging 10 free throws a game, hitting them at an 85% clip. And just his physicality forces defenders to foul him instead of just contesting shots. He gives the Warriors a downhill presence that they haven't had in years since prime Kevin Durant. It can be simple as just clearing out an empty side corner for him where he can just attack a defender in isolation, be able to hesitate and then wait for a defender to be up in the air and then draw the foul. In a 3-man action with Jimmy Butler, Steph Curry, and Draymond, you can see Jimmy's initially setting the screen for Curry. Again, this tells you about the attention he draws and how good of a screener Jimmy Butler is for a non-big. He opens this up and creates space for himself, where Draymond's able to just throw this simple pass, and with all this open space at the rim, Jimmy Butler can just dunk the basketball. I know plays like that just look really simple and should just be easy for any other player, but honestly, I want to really stress this to you because I know some of you have watched Warriors games. It just wasn't for players like Wiggins, players like Kyle Anderson, and especially Dennis Schroeder, who they signed and everybody thought was going to be the player for them. He just wasn't. He wasn't. The Warriors were a bottom 3 team at being able to generate free throws. Since Jimmy Butler, they've been in the top 5. Again, I know it's only been 4 games, but that goes to show you the level of volume that Jimmy Butler provides to them at getting to the free throw line, and that gives them a trickle down effect. I mean, it's simple. More free throws equals slowing the game down, helps an older Warriors team control pace. More paint touches equal better shots for Steph, Buddy Hield. The spacing gets even better, allows them to have more half-court opportunities, which equals more stability, especially for a team in the playoffs, less reliant on transition and above the break 3-pointers. It gives them easy buckets to rely on. They don't always just have to rely on Steph Curry's tough shot making. Now they have to respect another elite shot creator, which just opens up the floor for Curry's off-ball movement. And I don't think it's a surprise that Curry's numbers have looked better in these games with Jimmy Butler. For the first time in a long time, the Warriors can actually get easy buckets when they need them because Jimmy Butler is just going to get them in the free throw line. I mean, it's kind of bonkers that the Warriors are still relying on Steph Curry to play at a certain level at 35 years old, which he has been great, but Steph Curry has had a lot of moments this season where he hasn't looked that great. Jimmy Butler gives them that second offensive engine. He can run the pick and roll at an elite level and as a primary ball handler. He's not just any typical pick and roll guy who you can give them a couple of chops in the pick and roll. No, we've seen Jimmy Butler destroy teams in the playoffs, primarily what he can do in the pick and roll because he can attack mismatches against those smaller guards, or if you give him a big, he can take them off the dribble. And especially he thrives in isolation where he doesn't even need another ball handler, which the Warriors have struggled with for years. They needed another isolation guy who can just create offense and just score on his own. Jimmy Butler can do that. I know this season his numbers haven't been the greatest, but I do, a part of that is because his love for basketball just wasn't there for the Miami Heat. I mean, those are words he said. I'm just telling you what he said. But since he's been on the Warriors in these isolation looks, it's gonna be these midi shots he's gonna shoot. That's something that Jimmy Butler can do on a consistent basis when he's locked in. Other aspects of Jimmy Butler's offense is obviously the three-point shooting. He isn't a good three-point shooter, especially for the Golden State Warriors. Again, the limited sample size, he just isn't knocking down the three. But again, when you're playing alongside Steph Curry, who is not only a high volume three-point shooter, he is the greatest three-point shooter we've ever seen. You're getting another player like Jimmy Butler who is going to attack the rim relentlessly. I mean, you pair that alongside a Steph Curry who loves running the pick and roll, and Jimmy Butler who actually is a very great screener for a non-big. It can give you a lot of damage on the offensive end, which Jimmy Butler is a fantastic off-ball player, even though he isn't a shooter, which, again, to be a great off-ball player, yes, shooting is usually something we usually associate it with. You're a Jimmy Butler who's a very good screener, who's a very good cutter, and who's really good as a passer as well. That's another thing I haven't really touched upon that's really helping the Warriors, especially in non-Steph Curry minutes, is having another creator that can help initiate that offense, but actually still be able to create very good looks for opposing players. And no, Jimmy Butler isn't a amazing playmaker. He isn't a playmaker like Steph Curry, or even you can argue Luka Doncic and many others. He's not on that stratosphere, but he is good enough, and especially an upgrade from a guy like Andrew Wiggins, Kyle Anderson, and again, Dennis Schroeder, which is really helping the Golden State Warriors offense in a completely different realm from what they were before. And defensively, Jimmy Butler isn't the player that he was in the past few years. I don't think he has an argument to be the best non-big defender anymore in the NBA, but he's still a very good defender because of that physicality and his toughness, giving him that enforcer look where he can still be very elite on ball. He can just lock up wings and guards, and is one of the best still at just playing passing lanes. I mean, Warriors are going to thrive on these when he forces turnovers that gives them easier looks to attack in transition. He can just take some of those tougher defensive assignments as we've seen and make it really tough for them. I mean, Draymond Green has been the guy for them defensively, but getting another wing defender like Jimmy Butler just makes the Warriors that much better defensively to me. I know Wiggins was a very good one-on-one defender, and especially during that 22 run, defensively, Wiggins was very good. But I'll be completely honest, as a guy that watches a lot of Heat games, and you guys watch a lot of Wiggins, I would assume, let's be honest, Wiggins isn't the defender that Jimmy Butler is, especially a locked on Jimmy Butler. The acquisition of getting Jimmy Butler has been immediate benefits for this team in their scoring and defense. And again, to what Draymond said, they think they can win another championship this season. The strengths of what he provides for them is that immense in their eyes. To me, yes, I do think this makes them better. Do I think that makes them a championship contender? I don't know, man. I still think I need a lot more games, especially since we have 2 more months of regular season basketball. So who knows what happens? Who knows what this team can be? Who knows if another player gets a hot streak so we can see what they look like in this offense? To me, I think the Warriors did get better, but championship might be a bit too far for me, at least with only 4 games being played. So let's revisit this topic another time, and let me know down in the comment section below if you guys think and agree with Draymond Green. Does this make them a championship team this season? Because as we know, the window for them to win the championship is closing very fast as Steph Curry ages, with him being 35 years old. But with that being said, make sure you guys like, subscribe, hit that post notification bell. But before you guys leave, make sure you guys check out this video. I think this video was very well made and will have you very intrigued, just like this one. Peace out, man.